Hi, today I'm making a avocado and melon salad with fennel dust. And we're going to talk a little bit about the fennel plant because I get a lot of questions about how to prepare, cut, prep fennel. So I'll spend a little bit of time talking about that as well. This is an absolutely amazing summer dish. It would be perfect for your outdoor barbecues and your summer get-togethers, and it is super easy as always. Hi, I'm Judy Matesky. I'm a registered dietitian with Athens Nutrition, as well as a culinary nutritionist. So thanks for joining. I have sort of taken a step back from the Facebook Lives and scheduling them because I never know when my kitchen project is actually going to start. So I'm still in my old kitchen, and I thought it might be easier just to videotape some of these cooking demos, and then I can just put them up on Facebook. And that way they're available and I'm not relying on the Facebook Live and never knowing when I may or may not be able to go live. So today it's just going to be a taped video. So thanks for joining and thanks for watching. And please, if you like these videos, please share them with friends and family. We would love to have more of you in the Athens community. And we also have a culinary nutrition Facebook group that you are welcome to join. It's a great small group. It's a great way to share recipes, to ask questions. So that's something that if you're interested in, you can just reach out. If you want to pop over to our website, you can send us a message or just message me at Athens Nutrition's Facebook page. Okay. So we're going to do a lot of prepping here because I want to show you a couple of steps of things because I do get a lot of questions about, what is the easiest way to cut a melon? What about an avocado? Same with the fennel. So let's just take it step by step as we do this. Before we get to cutting the produce that's going to go in for the bulk of the salad, we're going to make the fennel dust. And I just love the sound of that. It almost sounds like a little fairy tale type of thing. So this is just a really nice flavor punch that's going to go on top of the salad. So let's talk about it a little bit. I have the burner on because we are going to toast some of the fennel seeds and the red pepper. So we'll talk about fennel in a minute, but when it comes to fennel, it's sort of like the nose to tail eating when it comes to, animals. Well, as a vegetable, you can pretty much use from the bulb to the stem, to the flowers, to the leaves, to the seeds. So it's the whole plant that you can eat. So to make the fennel dust, we're going to be using some fennel seeds. So it takes 2 teaspoons of fennel seeds. So I'm going to go ahead and just pop these right into the pan because we're going to toast these. And whenever you're toasting a whole spice, it's really called blooming the spice, which basically just gives it just a richer and a toastier and a little more fragrant aroma, as well as a little bit of a stronger flavor and taste. And I just love it. And then I'm just going to sprinkle in about 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper. I'm not going to use a lot because I don't really want this salad to be too spicy, but it just gives just a tiny bit of background heat. If you want it spicier, add more. All right, so I'm going to let these go. They're just in here toasting around. You can see them. All right, they're only going to take, I don't know, maybe a minute. I don't want to burn them. That's the only thing when you're toasting your any kind of your whole seeds. You just definitely don't want to burn them. You don't want to burn the oils because it's going to get a little bitter and a little bit not too flavorful, not the flavor that we're looking for. All right, so keep an eye on that. I can already smell it, and that's how you'll know. When you're toasting your seeds, you're going to be able to tell just by the fragrance because all of a sudden they just get so aromatic and your whole kitchen just smells fabulous. So these aren't going to take very long because I'm already smelling them. I'm going to turn it even down a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then we have a couple little other ingredients that we're going to finish the fennel dust with. All right. So why don't we actually start with the fennel plant since we're talking about fennel seeds. Here's a full fennel plant, all right? We got the bulb, we got the stems, we've got the leaves. What we don't have with this is the flowers, which these produce a very beautiful yellow flower, which you can use as great, as a sort of decorative element to any salads that you're making. I'm gonna take this off heat. I think they're already toasted. They're looking pretty good. I'm not going to overdo it. All right. So they have a beautiful little yellow flower. And then those flowers will produce the fruit, which is the seed. And that's what we're using in the fennel dust. All right. So these fennel seeds are also fantastic if you add like a teaspoon to your tomato sauce. When you're making tomato sauce, it just tastes really good. All right. So here's our plant. So what I do is I take the stalks off. So just go ahead, get a nice sharp knife, and then cut right through the stalks, and then you're left with this piece, right? So we have the fennel in two pieces. These stalks almost look like celery. They're a little tough, and most of the time they're not very edible. You might be able to eat down some of the like whiter ends of it, but once they start getting a little darker green, they're pretty tough. So what I usually do is I'm going to take off the little fronds, which are the leaves, because we're going to use those. They're great for decoration. They're great to add to the top of salads. I'm going to use some of those for the salad today. And then what I'll do with the rest of this is I will use this in a vegetable stock. Sometimes I'll lay it out on a sheet tray, and I will lay some fish on top of it and then roast it in the oven. And it just brings through a little bit of that fennel flavor into the fish. So don't throw them away, because you certainly can use them. If I don't think I'm going to use them right away and I have room, I might just pop them in a freezer bag and then just put them in the freezer. Just because, again, the idea here is to try not to waste, just try not to waste food. So just trying to use as much of it as anything, whatever plant or vegetable you're using, to try to use the whole thing as much as you can. All right, so now we're left with this bulb, and this is what we're going to use in the salad. What I usually do is just take the bulb, and either I'll stand it up if it's a flat enough surface, which this does have a pretty flat surface, and I'm just going to take my knife and cut straight through the middle. And then when you do that, you end up with two halves, and I know with lighting here, it might be hard to see. Oh, if I bring it closer, right there, you can see that rectangular kind of core that's at the base. That's really tough. So I'm just gonna take my knife, and I'm just gonna follow the lines of the core, which is like, again, it's a little triangle. And then I'm just gonna take that out, because that we really don't want. And if there's any extra, if you miss a little bit of the core at the bottom, just trim it off. And I'm going to do the same with the other. Now we're only going to use half of this fennel in this salad, so I'm going to save the rest of it to use later. But here we're just again taking out that triangular core, and now we have this half of the fennel. Sometimes the outer leaves can be a little bit tough. If it's small enough, I just sort of take them off. They're a little bit harder to use. If I see any brown, or if it looks like this might be a little bit tough on the outer edges of some of the skin here, I just kind of run my knife through it. You could take a vegetable peeler and just peel off a little bit of that outer, almost the outer skin here of the fennel, just because sometimes that can be just a little tough depending on how big the bulb is. All right, so now I'm going to take this bulb and I'm going to cut it just lengthwise in half. And then we're going to use the fennel as little thin strips. So if you have a mandolin, you could use that. I do not. So I'm just going to use my knife, and I'm just going to run it down. And I'm just bringing it, I just got a few nice little shaved slices, thin slices of fennel. And now fennel has a licorice flavor. It's a light anise flavor. It's not overpowering at all. I absolutely love it. But I do love licorice. But even if you don't like licorice, don't think you're not going to like fennel, because it's very mild. It's a very mild anisey kind of flavor. It adds such an interesting flavor to salads or soups. I make a fabulous pasta dish with it. I love it. And it's one of these things you can cook with it, you can saute it, you can roast it. My favorite way is just to eat it raw. I just will slice it up, put it out even like on a vegetable crudité, and just munch on it and raw. It's absolutely delicious that way. And I think that's probably my favorite way, because you really get the full flavor of the anise that way. I mean, of the fennel that way, at least in my opinion. All right, so here we have our sliced fennel. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the bowl, because basically we're just going to be tossing all of this together. All right, so let me just wipe off this cutting board a little bit here. Okay, so we did our fennel. Now the fennel fronds, as I mentioned, I'm going to save the other half of that fennel bulb for probably just to slice it up and maybe just have it as a little side salad for dinner. And now I'm going to save these, because we'll chop these up a little bit and put these on top. Okay, so now let's jump over to our melon. So this recipe calls for a cantaloupe. You could use honeydew. if you prefer. I think the color of the orange cantaloupe with the green, light green avocado and the white, it just kind of works better than a honeydew would, because then it would be kind of green on green, which would still be fine though, if you want that. So I'm going to take the cantaloupe and I'm just going to cut it in half. All right, we are going to use both halves, and obviously, you have the seeds in here. So I'm just going to scoop the seeds out. And then this is super easy because you don't have to slice this cantaloupe for this. We're not going to, this is a sort of a rough, kind of a rough salad, in the sense that it's a little more organic. We're just going to use a spoon to scoop out the cantaloupe and just put that right into our salad bowl. So we don't even have to cut this. So taking a little bit of a larger, sort of soup spoon, and we're just going right in here and just scooping this out in larger chunks, irregular pieces, which is kind of fun. Everything doesn't have to be cut perfectly. I think it just makes this a little bit more fun. So just get in there and scoop it out. It smells really good. This is a really nice melon. I can smell it. It smells wonderful. We are certainly getting into that season. And remember, when you're using melons, any kind of fruit where you're not really eating the skin, still wash your melon, because if there's any dirt or anything that's on the outer, or any bacteria or anything that might be on the outer portion of the melon or the vegetable or the fruit, then that way you're going to be able to rinse it off. So I always rinse my fruit pretty well and I dry it off, and then before I go into it. All right, so we have that half. Remember, melon with this nice orange color. We know that the plant compounds, the phytochemicals in fruits and vegetables help give these fruits and vegetables their color, but also they're very, strong, powerful antioxidants. So as we absorb them into our body, they help our body as well to sort of fend off any kind of foreign bodies that might be trying to attack us and to attack our immune system. So the more we can have available, the better. All right, it's called beta carotene. That's the orange color here in cantaloupe. All right, so I'm gonna scoop this out. I could probably go back in here, maybe you can get a little bit more of this melon out, but I'll just do bigger chunks right now. All right, and again, the whole point is for it to be irregular. You don't want this to be a nice little perfect salad. All right, and obviously if you're feeding a crowd, you might want to just double this, because cantaloupes aren't very large. All right, I think we're good. So I might get a little bit more out of that, but so now we have our melon and we have the fennel. So let's just take a nice ripe avocado. I bought these earlier in the week, so they did get ripe in time to make this video. So that's great, because that's sometimes not always the case. I do struggle sometimes. Came right out. The pit really is going to come right out. So let me just use my spoon. So be careful. All right. And the same thing, I'm just going to use a little bit of a smaller spoon. Again, keeping it irregular. We're just going to scoop it out. We're not even worrying about slicing it. So just little pieces of avocado. This one has a little bit of brown in it, but I'm not going to worry about that. All right, so we'll put some avocados. This calls for one. You could do more than one if you wanted. It's up to you. I'm going to just go with the one. I don't feel like I just want sort of the avocado in the background. I'd rather it be more the fennel and the melon. All right, yeah, so this avocado, a little bit of brown in it, but I think I'm sure it tastes fine. It's just gonna maybe not look great. All right, so there we have the avocado. Let's break that up a little bit. It's a little bit big. All right, and now let's go ahead and let's finish up this fennel dust, and let me show you how to do that. So we're gonna take the fennel and the red pepper, and I have over here this is just a coffee grinder. It's an inexpensive coffee grinder, got it off Amazon. I don't use it to grind coffee beans. I use it just as a spice blender. So we're going to take the fennel and the red pepper, and now we want to grind this up because we're turning the fennel into dust. So that's going to be our fennel dust. So I'm going to just pop it into this coffee grinder and give it a little whirl. It's going to be a little bit loud, so give me a sec here. All right. Not super fine, but fine enough. All right. And now I'm going to pour it into a bowl. You can see it. All right, so we have it all ground up into a little fennel dust now. And now we're going to finish it. And to finish it, we're going to use the zest of a lemon. Again, this is a pretty big lemon. I've been just getting really big lemons lately, which is great. I love it. But I'm going to use the zest of this full lemon, even though it is a little bit of a larger lemon. And then this just is going to get mixed with the fennel and the red pepper. And we're in the making of our fennel dust. So we've got the zest, and if you don't have a microplane or a zester, I would really encourage you to maybe pick one up. They're relatively inexpensive, and I use it all the time. I feel like I'm always zesting my citrus for something because the zest just adds so much flavor. We're going to use this whole lemon, but I'm just for now for this fennel dust, we're just going to use the zest. Okay, so we're just going to tap that off of our zester. We'll put that aside for a minute. And then what we're going to add is I'm going to add a pinch of salt, maybe a quarter of a teaspoon or so of salt. And if we need more, we can add more, but for now, just a quarter of a teaspoon. And then we are going to add, oh, you know what? I forgot my sugar, so let me just grab it for a sec. All right, so we're going to add I think it's just a teaspoon of sugar. We're going to have to check the recipe. It's not a lot. Oh, it's only half a teaspoon. Well, I guess it depends on how sweet your melon is. You could use a teaspoon or you could use a half a teaspoon. I'm going to go ahead with just, for now, I'm just going to use a half a teaspoon. I have a feeling that this melon's pretty ripe. It really smells really good. All right, so just a little bit of sugar in here. All right, and that's it. So we're going to just mix this around. That's our little fennel dust. We're just kind of rubbing it around. You could use your fingers. I probably would normally just use my fingers, but I have my spoon out, so I'll be a little more proper here. All right, it's all blended together. It smells so good because you can really smell the fennel. You can smell the lemon zest. It smells really nice. All right, so we have the melon, avocado. You know what? Let's go ahead and add. This just feels like there's just not enough avocado. I don't know if this is just smaller or whatever, because between the fennel and the melon, I feel like we might lose some of that. Oh, this one doesn't look great. All right, so let's just go ahead. I'm going to go with this one. All right, so now what we're going to do is toss this around. Give it a toss. And the melon, it's kind of nice because the melon is a little sweet and soft. The avocado adds that richness, that really nice, rich flavor and texture and creaminess. And then the fennel just adds the crunch. So it kind of gives you this really nice little balance. And then, so we'll do that. And then what we're going to do is take the fennel dust now and just sort of sprinkle it right on top. And this is where you're going to get that real punch of flavor. This is amazing. You might not need all of it. Just kind of, you can sort of just taste it. And I just put maybe sprinkle half on, save it, and then when you go to serve it, you might want to sprinkle a little bit more on. And then the final thing that I would do is take the lemon, and let's cut that in half. This is so large, I'm not sure if I'm going to use the full lemon. I think I just use half a lemon for now. And again, I usually like to squeeze it over a clean hand, and then let my hand catch the seeds. It just saves from washing. One more thing. So if you squeeze it, your hands are going to catch any seeds that might come through. So just squeeze that right on top. And then just a final little finishing touch would be to just take a little bit of olive oil and then just take the olive oil and just drizzle that right on top. Just 2 teaspoons or so. You don't need much. Just a little bit. Oh, you know what? Okay, I think actually there was one more thing. I was like, okay, we had the lemon juice, and then we had our fennel dust, a little drizzle of olive oil. So a couple little things good, but we definitely want to take our fennel fronds, just to put them on top. I'm not even gonna worry about chopping them up. You can just tear them up. Again, this is kind of fun. This is more of a, you know, nice rustic kind of salad. It's none of the cuts are angular. We're really just keeping it much more organic. And then here you have it. And it's just such a beautiful little salad. And it comes together so quickly, right? Few ingredients, just make sure they're great, they're ripe, they're fresh, that, you know, that they taste really, really good. But it's this little fennel dust that I think is so unique and different that brings some incredible flavor to this dish. All right, so thanks again for joining. I will be putting up more pre-recorded cooking demos for some of the recipes that we're posting on the blog so that we can kind of keep this going as we go through the kitchen project here at the house. I'm also going to give you some tours of our garden. When I posted the tour of the rhubarb, I did get a lot of comments and people, you know, messaging me saying, oh, could we see more of the garden? And I thought that would be a lot of fun. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is called a salad that's called, it's dakos, which is a Cretan salad. It's a salad that's served all over Greece, but particularly Crete. And it uses, you know, tomatoes and cheese and this incredible crunchy base, which is called dakos, which is, it's a barley rusk, which is a very crispy, dense bread that you put the salad on top. And in doing that, I'm also going to serve that with a side of something called purslane. And we have a lot of that growing in our garden. It's a green that grows like crazy, but it is found, when we were in Crete, that was the greens that we got with our salad. There was no lettuce. It was always purslane. And what's unique about purslane, it just is naturally very high in omega-3 fatty acids. So I'm going to take you for a tour with the next video. We'll go look at some purslane in the garden. I'll show you what it looks like. And then we'll serve that with the dakos. So I will see you soon. In the meantime, message me, share the videos, reach out. You can always text me or message me. If you jump over to our website, you can also reach out to us via email. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And if you are interested in joining our culinary nutrition Facebook group, just let me know. Send me a message and we'll get you joined. All right, thanks and enjoy the rest of the day.